Well, welcome to class. And today we're going to talk about some important habits to start thinking about for grade 11. And so I'm going to start by sharing my screen. We're going to talk about how when you get an assignment from your teacher, at first you will get an assignment from your English, social studies, or history teacher. When that occurs, then you want to look at the question the teacher provides to respond to it in general as your thesis statement. And then you want to start by brainstorming all your responses to the question. Your goal for brainstorming is to think of all your responses to it to get to your main response. Your second goal with brainstorming is to start thinking of ways to explain your thesis statement and to come up with subtopics, which are the body paragraphs that will make up your essay. And you want to keep in mind the guidelines for number of body paragraphs necessary to meet the requirements of your teacher. Okay, so when you receive an assignment from your teacher, you want to look through guidelines from the teacher to structure your outline first of all. So what should the essay look like? For example, if your teacher says in their assignment guideline sheet, your essay should be structured into 6 paragraphs. The introduction should be at least 9 sentences. In your opening paragraph, make sure you, number 1, start with a general overview of the topic by discussing the novel at least 4 sentences. 2, explain, interpret, or analyze the given source or idea at least 4 sentences. And 3, clearly state your thesis in 1 to 2 sentences. Your introduction should end by briefly mentioning the main reasons that you will later develop in your body paragraphs to support your thesis. And for the body paragraphs, each should be 12 to 14 sentences. Body paragraphs 1 and 2 provide specific examples that show how the novel does something. And body paragraph 3 and 4 provide additional examples that show how the novel does something. And replace the quotations with the particular focus or argument you are making. And for the conclusion, at least 6 sentences. In your final paragraph, restate your thesis in a fresh way and summarize your key points. Bring together the main ideas from your body paragraphs and explain how they support your overall argument. Then, if this is the assignment that your teacher has provided you with, what should your essay outline look like? So if the assignment is to do with the main idea or theme of the novel, you're pretending your teacher gave you this assignment and you're creating an outline for it. So whenever you receive an assignment from a teacher, the first thing you do is you read all of these guidelines. Second thing you do is create a carefully drafted outline based upon the assignment they're giving you. And then once you've done that, then you start writing. But you never start writing until you do that if you want an A. But you want to make sure that whenever you receive an assignment from a teacher for writing an essay, that you draft out an outline that is accurately placing and including all details of the assignment in that outline before you start to draft it. So an example of that, so then your essay should look like this. So the essay title would be how the author shows the main idea or theme in the novel, or a title with the novel title. And in the first paragraph for the introduction, you would write 9 or more sentences. And you would provide a general overview of the novel with 4 or more sentences. You would introduce the novel, you'd provide the title, author, and a very brief context like the setting, main character, and main conflict. You'd give a short summary of what the story is about, no tiny details, just the big picture. You would mention the main situation or problem the characters face, and you would connect that problem to a bigger idea or theme, such as courage, justice, friendship, identity, etc. You would explain, interpret, analyze the source or main idea in 4 or more sentences. So you'd introduce the main idea your essay will focus on, for example, the importance of standing up for what is right. You would explain what this idea means in general, not just in the book. You would briefly explain why this idea is important in real life, friendships, school, society, etc. And you would connect this idea back to the novel by showing how the story explores or questions this idea. You would provide, at the end of your introduction, the next part, you would include your thesis statement plus preview 1 to 2 sentences. So you provide a clear thesis. So in the novel title, author shows that main idea or theme by main reason 1, main reason 2, and main reason 3. And you would end the paragraph by briefly listing the 3 main reasons you will explain in your body paragraphs. And these will become the focuses. Basically, your general overview of the novel is the first part of your introduction. The second part of your introduction is to explain, interpret, analyze the source or main idea, and then to provide the thesis statement. So yeah, that's broken down into those 3 sections per paragraph. And then you would have your second, third, so your body paragraph 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so your body paragraph 1 would focus on the first main way the novel shows your theme in 12 to 14 sentences. Your body paragraph 2 would be in 12 to 14 sentences as well, where you would focus on developing or extending reason 1 with another angle or character. And then body paragraph 3 would discuss the second way the novel shows your theme, and then body paragraph 4, you would deepen reason 2 or introduce and connect a third angle in reason 3. So taking the assignment your teacher gave you, if you create an outline, then you'll start to draft it out, and you'll notice that you'll include all of the details more carefully based upon the assignment your teacher gives you. That's my point there, okay? And then in the conclusion, yes, you're correct. You restate, you summarize, and then you provide the big picture, the so what, in 6 sentences based upon that assignment your teacher would give you. Okay, so your first step is to take the assignment from your teacher. Second step is to create an outline based upon all of the details of what your teacher wants you to include in the assignment. And then your next step would be to fill in each section of your essay outline with the essential information for each section. Then you want to write your first draft of your essay. And after writing your first draft of the essay, make sure that you put your essay aside for a couple of days before revising and editing your essay. Why do you think you should put your assignment aside for a couple of days before you revise and edit it a final time? Why should you set it aside for 2 days before you revise and edit it 2 days later? Why should you wait 2 days to revise and edit your essay? Yes, a break from it. It's fascinating because I myself found out that when I put my essay aside for 2 days and then revise and edit it, I will go from a C+ paper to an A paper just because of the revision and editing that I was able to notice after 2 days after I completed it. So we need to be able to look at our first draft with fresh eyes. We need to look at it as though it's someone else's paper, and we're able to notice any mistakes, and they come glaring at us on the page for us to fix. Because when we try to revise and edit our essays immediately after we write them, we will be so familiar with the writing that we will not be able to catch the errors we would normally be able to fix our grammar and our writing skills in our essay. Yeah. And I was really happy to finally learn that, because as long as you take your teacher's assignment and you create an outline that carefully details everything that is required for the assignment and fill that all in very thoughtfully, every single aspect of the outline according to the teacher's requirements, the next thing that you can do well is to ensure after that when you finish writing your first draft, that you put it aside for 2 days so that you can edit it with your fresh eyes. So you should follow this step, because time away from your writing, it makes your revision much stronger. When you finish a first draft, your brain is still inside the essay. You know what you meant to say, so your eyes often slide over missing words, confusing sentences, or weak ideas. If you put the essay aside for a couple of days, you come back to it with fresh eyes. This makes it much easier to spot mistakes in grammar, awkward phrasing, or places where your explanation doesn't fully make sense. Okay? So, yeah, that was probably something I learned a little too late. I probably could have done a lot better at school. I could have like I was in the IB program and I did receive good grades and I did get, go to university and do well. However, I wish I knew this when I was your age. Okay, and then also, while you're taking a break, your brain is still quietly processing your ideas in the background. When you return to your draft, you'll often think of better examples, clearer explanations, or stronger word choices that you didn't notice the first time. This leads to better organization, where you can see if your ideas are in a good order. Stronger arguments, you can check if your evidence really proves your point. And clearer sentences and fewer errors. You catch spelling, punctuation, and grammar mistakes. So, in short, writing the first draft and then waiting before revising helps turn a rushed, rough piece of writing into a clearer, more thoughtful, and more polished essay. Okay, so for revision and editing, if you are a student in English grade 10, you should be revising and editing your grammar and writing based on the following guidelines. So here is an outline for you. This is a revision and editing checklist. It is based upon grammar, sentences, and overall writing. It is where you want to make sure that your spelling, punctuation, and typos are in good order, as well as your connectors and transitions, that your title and thesis are well developed, that your topic sentences are clear, that you have relevant support within your body paragraphs, and that you have a properly written point of view for your essay type, that you include sentence variety, that you have included grammar and agreement correctly, that you have formal word choice and tone, and that you are using feedback and class notes from your teacher, because when your teacher is talking about an assignment or preparing you for an assignment by giving you a lesson prior to an assignment, you want to be writing down notes. And the reason you want to be writing down notes in all your classes is because you will have them to refer to, and you will be able to ensure that you have completed all the requirements of the assignment the way the teacher wants you to. Okay, so even in our class, when I'm sharing with you a lesson, I want you to ensure that you are writing notes. And when I ask you to write notes, that you write them down and that you understand that I'm telling you to write down these notes, not just as an activity, but because if you follow your notes, you'll actually complete all your assignments for our class very well and get a good amount of positive feedback on your progress based on that. Okay, so let's keep up the notes. And so whenever you are finishing an essay, I am going to provide you with a checklist, and this is the checklist, and you want to keep in mind that if there are any boxes you cannot check honestly, go back and revise or edit that part of your essay before you submit it. This will help you get the most accurate feedback on your real areas for improvement. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to learn from that. We want to start doing this if you want an A. So what you want to do is start by taking notes in our class, and get used to that because you're going to be taking them in all your classes, your science, your socials, and your English at school, just like you will for our class. In point form, I don't want you to spend 10 minutes writing this all down, but I want you to make sure you get all of the points down in point form.
Sure.
And don't miss out on writing any important information from it on your notebook. And then after you finish, I'm going to get you to read out loud to me what you wrote in your notebook. Yeah, so you always want to make sure that you complete it 3 days before it's due, so that a day before you revise and edit it one final time before you hand it in. All right, now we're going to practice taking notes when your teacher's talking. So I'm going to let you know about how to write a summary. So let's write some notes down on how to write a summary when I'm talking. Just like when you're in social studies, science, history, and English class at school, this is what you want to do in your notebook every day when your teacher talks. Okay, so for writing a summary, you need to make sure that the length of your writing is half the length of the material that you are summarizing. So if there were 13 slides of a class, you need to approximate half that length in writing to summarize the lesson. If it is a 1 page that you are summarizing, then you make the summary half a page in that example. In a summary, you don't include every single detail. You only provide a general overview of all of the information so that it catches the gist, the general information of all the details provided. And that's that. So now with the lesson, so now just for a little activity for fun for the next 5 minutes here, this is what we're going to do, is everything I just said to you about what a summary is and how to do it. I want you to type up what I said, about all those notes that I just gave you, all that information I just gave you about a summary. I want you to type it up as notes and share it with me in the chat box. Everything I said. Very well developed.